So this is Dr. Cham, Professor Cham. Thank you, Howard. Professor Lam introduced me. So I tell you a secret. This is for Macau this time, right? And in fact, I was born with Macau. Many of you know that, right? Some of my friends actually are also audience today, but many of you probably not know me before. So I'm actually a native Macaunese. So I was born in Macau and I studied in Macau, and right now I'm also a member in the government talents development committee. So I'm still very active, not just in Hong Kong, but also contribute to Macau as well in terms of the community, particularly in the innovation and technology area. So today I'm going to talk about the digital transformation, which is not anywhere, not just Macau and Hong Kong, anywhere you go, everybody is talking about digital transformation. How we can transform our business, leveraging on digital, right? Or the other way around, you are doing a digital business. You are trying to make use of digital to build or sustain your own business. So those are the areas that we will talk about. Although we only have less than an hour, definitely we will try to bring out the key points. So at least you get some key takeaway to go back, some inspiration. So where you are and where your competitors are and how we can go on. And very importantly, I also invited one of our CU Hong Kong eMBA graduates, Wilson. So Wilson actually is one of our graduates. So he also in the digital transformation area. So later on, I'm going to have him, invite him to talk about the digital transformation in Macau and go through some of the examples, right? So let me get it started. So this is some of my background. So basically, in a nutshell, I've been in the innovation technology for more than 30 years. So I'm still very active in the ecosystem. So apart from I'm a professor in CU Hong Kong, I'm teaching quite a lot of eMBA and MBA program, mostly on the strategy and also in the digital transformation, AI, big data, and fintech. But apart from the professors, I'm also active in the innovation ecosystem, meaning that I'm advising quite a lot of startups. I'm advising quite a lot of traditional enterprise. They're transforming digitally. So those are the experience I'm still working on, because when we talk about digital transformation, it's not going to be a project. It's actually a journey. So it's no end. So you keep trying to change for your customer, for your problems, by making use of new innovation, new technologies. So it's not really have an end game, but you evolve, you change, you try to leverage on different types of technologies to solve your business problem. So I cannot be only a professor, because if you are only a professor, probably you cannot get all the latest innovation and technologies. So I'm keep having myself to help a lot of major enterprise in Hong Kong and around in Asia and mainland China. So hopefully I can, on one hand, I can contribute to their digital transformation journey, but on the other hand, I can also learn from them, right? So this is just a nutshell what we are. So seeing is believing it, right? So you can see, not just myself, many of my colleagues in CU Hong Kong, like Howard mentioned about Dominic, and he also very experienced in this ecosystem. So together, all the faculties from our background is more likely on the digital transformation. So we actually involved in the ecosystem a lot. And you can see there's a BOC, there's this HSBC. So fintech is one of the area, but also AI and big data. But more importantly, it's not the technology is the most important thing. The most important thing is how you're going to help different companies in different industries, and also helping different functional life. For example, you're a COO, you're a CFO, or you're working in the finance area, working in the HR area, working in the marketing area. How are you going to leverage on all these technology and innovation to help you and your company to grow? So those are the things that we're working on. So if you come to our eMBA program, we use a lot of eMBA, very important format, which is we use a lot of case studies. We invite a lot of guest speakers to come, so you can see the ecosystem here. So every one of us, we have a very good network out there. And our students and also alumni, they also have very strong networks out there. So besides you learn from all these lectures, you also learn from cases through discussions. You learn from group projects. You also learn from guest speakers from different industry and different levels and different functions. So those are the beauty of the networking, beauty of the ecosystem. Very important for innovation technology as well. So this is some of the scene, just give you a feel, that's experience. When you, some of you are alumni already, some of you haven't started your EMBA journey, but this is something you like. So this lecture room, but more than that, is you learn from your classmates, from guest speakers, from cases. Right, back to here. Digital transformation, there's so many things we can talk about digital transformation. But the urgency is the traditional enterprises. So most of the companies in Hong Kong and in Macau, so basically we are coming from the traditional industries. So whether you're in retail, in travel, in logistics, whether you are even in bank, in insurance company, we are still called this traditional or established company. Maybe you are working in the SME, small to medium enterprise. Still, we are using a lot of manual systems, okay? We are using a lot of papers. All this kind of thing we need to think about. In this kind of world today, we cannot survive if we're not pushing ourselves to change. So it's very important for today, we are focusing on how we help traditional enterprises to really make the change and transform digitally. So if you listen to me carefully, I say making the change first before the digital transformation. Digital transformation to me and to many people out there is actually a change management. So you have changed many, many times before in your company. It could be any kind of changes, but this time, this change, you have to take care of it. Because if you're not, then your competitors will not just stealing your market share, but actually killing your whole industry. We look at that as the first part. The second part, we talk about the Empire Strikes Back. So remember the Star Wars, right? So there's a famous phrase called the Empire Strikes Back. The same thing right now. You're talking about Alibaba, we're talking about Amazon, we're talking about Google, we talk about Meta. That's previously we called Facebook, right? So all these companies, they are giants. So would that mean the traditional companies have to die? Not necessary. So the empire actually can strike back. So the question is how, right? So second part, we will talk about the empire strikes back in the digital world. In fact, the digital world is more complicated than what we thought. There's a very acronym called VUCA, VUCA. That means we are not only just in the digital world, we're also in a VUCA world. VUCA meaning that what? Volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and also ambiguity. So we are living in a world not just digital, but also in VUCA. So in order to really survive, we are not saying stay ahead of the competition. Just survive, you need to really, really do it seriously. How we're going to transform our company, particularly in the digital area. Then, of course, we will have Vincent to come to talk about cases in Macau, and we're going to have a chat with Vincent and see what we can get from him. And then we have the Q&A later on. Okay, let's get it started. Competitors. So if I ask you who's your competitors, you probably think about, well, in my own industry, the next door is another supermarket. I'm a supermarket, right? I'm a transportation company. I'm a logistic company. Next door is a logistic company. You'll think about competitors in the same industry. But today, in the digital world, we are not talking about competitors only from your industry. Of course, they're still your competitors. But likely, your major competitors is not the companies in your same industry. So if I ask you, who is your major competitors in the next 3 years? Well, we talked about already, the company is the same industry. But we also have the second type, third type, and fourth type, different types of competitors. We talk about the tech giants and platform. If you are in financial services industry, we are seeing you face to face, next time definitely. So I see some hands. Most of the financial services people, they will raise hands. The second types of competitor is their major competitors, tech companies. I just asked a CEO of an insurance company, very big company, what keep you wake up? What makes you wake up at night? Right? In English expression, we also use that. That means it's most fattening factors. Then you cannot keep you awake at night. Right? You know what's the answer? What's the answer? Tech company, tech giant. So the insurance company are not worried about other insurance company. They're going to beat them tomorrow. They worry about the tech giants that really keep the CEO cannot sleep at night. So those are the things we talk about. And the third one is startup. So you think about startup, small kid, young kid, forget about it, okay? In fact, have you heard about unicorns? Unicorns, what's the definition of a unicorn? In Hong Kong, we have, say, unofficially, we have 18 unicorns already. But I would say that 10 will be fair. So you heard about GoGoVan, Lalamove. You heard about SenseTime. You heard about Klook, right? You heard about WeLab. All these companies are unicorns. That means they are not a listed company. They are a startup, just a few years. But their valuation is over $1 billion US. $1 billion US. How many of our companies in Hong Kong and Macau, our valuation is over $1 billion US? Not too many. For a startup, a few people to start, just for a few years operating, their valuations go up over $1 billion US. It's crazy. So don't underestimate the power of startup. Today, Uber, Airbnb, all of them, including Amazon, okay, all of them, when they started, they are just a startup. But in a few years, they become a unicorn, now become competitors of all these major industry leaders. So this is something we talk about. And the last but not least is cross-industry challenges. That means they're not in your industry, but they're making use of the innovation and technology. They cross over from one industry to another industry. And they're doing well. They're doing well. So those are the things that we need to think again. If you just think about the first one as your competitors, you're missing out those are the three major competitors in the digital economy. At the end of the world, then you're not going to survive. So just take a look, right? So all the things on your left-hand side, on your right-hand side. On the right-hand side, everybody know about them right now. Amazon, Netflix, Meta, Facebook, Uber, all that. It's a household name already. 10 years ago, nobody heard about their names, right? So think about all this left-hand side, major one. You think all these publisher, like McGraw-Hill, all these TV broadcaster like NBC, CBS, right? When CBS and NBC and ABC, they're all competing together, all these TV broadcasters, right? They never think about Netflix as their competitors. Now Netflix is number one in the world. All these TV stations are regretted why we license our content to Netflix when they get started. We feed our enemy. Now an enemy is hurting us very badly. And Facebook, right, when they come out, okay, it's for kids, for fun, communication. Now, how many people have sent your written letter? Last time you sent out your written letter. Nobody writes letters anymore. If you don't have letters, you don't need to mail it out, right? How much impact to the logistic industry? Same for Uber, same for Didi, same for Grab, or any kind of what we call the car hailing industry. So because they're making use of sharing economy, nobody need to buy anything. Nobody need to own any fixed asset like a car. I just use my apps and I can find mobility, transportation services. So all the car maker, Toyota, Ford, Volkswagen, any kind of hardware makers, all these automakers, they are in trouble because of the sharing economy. So think about that. All these large companies on your left-hand side, have they ever thought about today they're in this kind of chaos? Nobody thought about that. Otherwise, Toyotas already have a subsidiary called Uber. NBC already have a subsidiary called Netflix, right? In fact, it's no. There's another company beating them badly. Think about that today. Even you are top of the world in your industry. Will you going to be the top of the world tomorrow? Not necessarily. History told us in the digital economy, no one is going to be sustainable if you are not innovative enough. All right? So you look at, okay, I have the money. Okay, I am Kodak. I am Nokia. I have a lot of money. I just keep putting money on my R&D, and then my innovation will come. In fact, it's not the formula anymore. Think about this chart. This chart, right? This chart, how do you read this chart? This is spending, R&D big spender. That means they spend a lot of money on R&D, but their innovation ranking is very low. But on the other hand, the innovation ranking is very high, but the R&D spending are very low. This is Apple and Samsung we talk about. That explains why people are using Apple, using Samsung. And today, I can say that nobody is using Nokia, right? So think about, it's not Nokia, they are not throwing money to R&D, research and development. It's because they are not spending it right. So what's missing in Nokia, right, is the innovation and technology, how they make use of it. But more importantly, what do we mean by making use of technology, right? We'll explain that. So this chart actually tells us it's not the money issue that really can bring you the innovation and competitiveness in the digital economy. It's really other stuff that we're going to talk about, right? So this is the new four forces. If you learn from your bachelor degree, talk about competition, we learn about Michael Porter, 5 forces, right? In the digital economy, in the VUCA world, I would say that it's not enough. So you need to learn a new model. What I invented is the 4 forces. So we just talk about that. In the digital economy, you're talking about tech giants, unicorns, cross-border challenges, and also digital savvy enterprises. That means in your same industry, but they are smarter than you in terms of making use of digital. So all these 4 kinds of competitors is really your serious competitor in the digital economy. Right? If you overlook them, that's fine. If you're preparing to retire, that's fine. Just keep it. If you want to compete in the market in the next 5 and 10 years, there's no way you can escape from these 4 important types of competitors, right? So if you look at all this ranking in terms of, for example, market cap, in terms of branding, brand value, brand equity. What is the common finding you can find out? All the top companies are tech companies. All the most important valuable brands, they are tech companies. Banks, oil used to be number 1. Manufacturer like GE used to be number 1. You can't see them anymore in terms of market cap, in terms of branding. How about startup? We talk about unicorns, right? Unicorn is sometimes you buy a unicorn, a horse with a horn, right? And buy it for your daughter like a toy. But in the innovation technology ecosystem or in our industry, unicorn is valuation over $1 billion. This is the latest chart, 2021, the biggest unicorn, right? We should be proud of it because the biggest one is actually from China, our mother country. This is ByteDance, 字節跳動. And then we talk about TikTok. TikTok is actually spin off from ByteDance, right? So the valuation is 140 billion US dollars. And the second one, actually, Hong Kong should be proud of it. And CU Hong Kong should be proud of it. Chinese University, because it's SenseTime. SenseTime actually is a spin-off from CU Hong Kong. Okay, so it's already listed in Hong Kong. So this is the second largest unicorns in the world. But you look at the China and US comparisons, the number of unicorns is almost the same. So China grew very fast in terms of producing unicorns in the last 5 to 10 years. Well, 10 years ago, all the unicorns mainly are coming from the United States or East World. Right? Now you can see that China, including Hong Kong, we are producing quite a lot of unicorns. It's very important. But don't underestimate, don't simplify this. I tell you what, Malaysia did not have a unicorns until last year. The first unicorn coming out from Malaysia was spawned just in 2021, right? That means it's not that easy to create a unicorns. Even you have a big country like Malaysia, Thailand, and even Indonesia, the number of unicorns is actually less than the number of unicorns in Hong Kong, surprisingly. I always share with my friends, 6 years ago, when we talk about startups in Hong Kong, people think about Cha Chan Ten. People think about Wong Kim Seung Cheng, selling all these, little things used in your computer. Right now, when we talk about startup, we know that we're talking about WeLab, we're talking about SenseTime, we're talking about tech startups. Right? This is something we should be proud of. I know that Macau is doing very good on that as well, trying to catch up in this game. So definitely, Vincent, I will share together with Vincent on that as well. Right? So this unicorn, right? So we talk about SenseTime, 商湯, right? We talk about ByteDance, 字節跳動. Well, we also talk about years ago when Xiaomi came out to the market, they struck the market because they are using another business model, trying to sell phones. At that time, you already have Nokia, Samsung, Apple around the world. So how they can make it? And more importantly, they create a history. They created a history in terms of number of years become a unicorn. If you look at this chart, the blue bar here is for Fortune 500 companies. On average, it took 20 years to have a valuation over $1 billion US dollars. But look at Xiaomi, right? They just take less than 2 years become a unicorn, right? So those are the things we should really power. Although you might not use Xiaomi mobile phone, that's okay. Something we can learn from them. So definitely, if you come to my class, hopefully I can share with you more, right? So you can get a feel. So all these new companies, they're competing in different dimensions, right? If you are traditionally, you're competing with asset. I have a lot of money, I have a lot of property, a lot of manufacturing plants. You think you can continue to win in the world? Think again. Look at all this ranking. Where is GE? Where is Walmart? Right? If they can make use of their money, where is Nokia? They put a lot of things on R&D. They should still be number one in the world. But no. Look at all these companies you see on the screen. All these companies, they do not have a heavy asset. They only have light asset, which is data. So all of them are making use of data to strengthen their company, to derive new business model, to design better customer experience. All these are based on data and their innovation. The traditional company, they have a lot of assets, they have a lot of money, but they're lacking of innovation. They're lacking of customer centricity. They're lacking of the capability to make use of data. So that's why they're losing. Look at all these companies. Airbnb, they don't even have a room. Now their valuation, I show you another slide. you will be astonished how much they worth in the market. Look at Netflix, look at Alibaba, look at Facebook, look at Tencent, look at Alibaba and all these companies. So if you think about the second question I asked you, right? Marriott and Airbnb, how do you compare? Right? Marriott is the largest hotel chain in the world. They are better than all other traditional hotel companies, right? But when we compare Marriott and Airbnb, so what's the difference? The differences is, again, how you become customer-centric, how you make use of data, right? So guess, right? What's the market cap of Airbnb? 1 billion, 10 billion, 50 billion, or 100 billion? Right? There's so many things. Well, you may think that, okay, it's a unicorn, 1 billion. Or maybe it's bigger, 10 times of a unicorn, 10 billion. 50 times, I give you the answer. Right? In 2008, Airbnb, the valuation is only 38 billion. It's already very big. But look at this year. Airbnb, after they listed, the valuation is close to 110 billion US dollars. You don't have any clue and concept what is 110 billion, right? So when we benchmark with all these traditional hotel chains, all these 4 major hotel chains adding together, right? It's not over 100 billion. So that tells you how strong Airbnb is, right? Airbnb, when they start, we say startup, right? So don't underestimate any startup. Either you learn from them or you collaborate with them. If you compete with them, you'll not necessarily win, right? So this is something you need to take care of. And then we talk about 2 words, right? Light asset and heavy asset. Traditional company, for example, you look at these, GE, GM, all these companies, they are traditional company. They have a lot of manufacturing plants, equipments, engineers, and all that. Why they're losing? It's not because they're not good. It's because the business is changing. We are changing from a heavy asset business to a light asset business. What does it mean by light asset? That means you don't have all these hardware factories like property, but you do have tons of data, and also you are making use of data to design much better customer experience, much better products. You're gaining trust from your customers through making use of data analytics. So those are the capabilities, the competence that the traditional heavy asset companies do not have. That's why you're seeing that the change is that if your company do not have the strategies to migrate or get into the asset light business, then you are not going any farther. You will get stuck with your old company. It doesn't mean you have to throw away the asset heavy business. You keep that, but on the other hand, you have to create asset light business. Right? So think about these tech giants. They already crossed the borders, like Alibaba going into different industry, and for example, Volkswagen, Shopify also going into financing industry. So this is what we talk about cross-border competitors. So time is limited, so I just give you a few. Now we are not talking about the 5 forces model. When we are seeing and analyzing competitors, you should use my view. This is the 4 different types of new competitions, and you have to take care of it. Otherwise, you cannot even survive. So this is the hero we're talking about. So this is the unicorns from Hong Kong, 6 of them. So, but more importantly, why I'm bringing up them is not because we are very admire them because now they're billionaire. It's more important how they lead their company. What traditional companies learn from them. All these unicorns actually lead by culture and purpose. If you look at WeLab, one of the most successful fintech startups from Hong Kong, they have a culture book, the culture book. This is all this culture that they need to build, become the DNA of every WeLab people, right? So I give you an example. Never not my job. It's become their DNA. That means traditional company, you're working for one department, you're not going to do work for another department. When people assign jobs to you that is not traditionally your job, you just refuse it. But in a startup led by culture, it won't happen. Never not my job, meaning that whenever there's a need, I will do it. It doesn't matter which department, which team I belong to, right? This is something, just give you a lot of things that are very good over there, right? And talking about bank, for example, DBS. So DBS is benchmarked themselves, not with other banks, but with all these major giants. If you read this word, Gandalf, called Gandalf, right? It's the Google, Amazon, Netflix, Apple, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Now we need to change M. It's Meta, right? But the middle one is actually D. D is DBS. So DBS actually is benchmarked with all these tech giants, helping all these employees, every one of them think about, we are not a bank. We are a technology company with all these ambitions, with all this innovation, with all this culture and purpose. So if you are a traditional company, will you try to do that? If you're not doing that, you have no option not doing it. Because all your competitors, when you talk about all these 4 different types of competitors, right? If you just benchmark with your own industry, you are cooking a frog in the warm water. 溫水煮蛙. When you die, you don't know why you die. Right? So those are the things we just remind. So I give you some scary story already, right? So we are in trouble. We are in an urgency to change. So if you are a traditional company, it doesn't matter which industry you are in. How are we going to handle it? How are we going to manage this disruption? Empire strikes back. How we can not only not defeat it by the digital disruption, but also seize opportunities in the digital economy, right? So those are the things what we call the empire strikes back. So if you look at all these famous leaders, right, starting from, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, Mark Zuckerberg, Jack Ma, even Albert Einstein, and of course Jeff Bezos from Amazon. All these famous, innovative leaders, tech leaders, scientists, what are they in common? Are they handsome guys? Are they have their own charisma? Yes, most of them, yes, they have a charisma. But most important, what is in common? Are they innovative, customer-centric, look cool, hardworking? All of them are very important. But you have to choose one. Which one you will choose, the most important one? Okay? It's actually the second one, customer-centric. All of them are very focused on who are my customers? What are their pains? What are their problems? How I can help them? How I can make it better for them? How I can make a difference? Right? So customer centricity is all these leaders, they're always in their mind. So if you think about even Philips, traditionally they are manufacturers, but one of the division is the Philips Lighting. They're Professor Bob's, right? So if you're just thinking about, I keep doing a lot of money to do R&D, make the hardware better, cheaper, brighter, can live longer, you can still doing that, but this is the old way to run a manufacturers, to improve your product. That has nothing wrong with that. But in the digital economy, it's not good enough. If you are in my class, I will give you a chance to discuss about this. So what is the new business model for Philips Lighting? So what do you think about it, right? So this is a lot of different types of things. I just did it last week. We have 6 groups in my class. So they're talking about how they change it. They have new ideas and a lot of good things. But what is customer centricity? If Philips want to do that, the people are not just buying the hardware. They are buying light. They want to have light so they can continue to grow, continue to work, continue to teach. And more importantly, people worry about energy, environmental safety, environmental protection, emissions, carbon zero, right? ESG. You think about all these from the customer centricity. As a energy provider, hardware manufacturers, how are you going to change in the digital economy? Right? So Philips actually invented a new model called Light as a Service, LaaS, right? Just like SaaS in the software industry, right? So by changing from a selling hardware to a subscription model, by making use of all the hardware become a sensor, so they can capture data, analyze the data, they can do preventive maintenance. That means before the bulbs goes down, they fix it, so everybody get the light, right? So subscription, you don't have to buy hardware unit by unit. You can just pay a subscription fee. They also making use of data. They can manage energy saving for their customers. And then they have a new revenue model. They can share the saving. So if you save $100, I take you $20. So all these different types of innovation. You have technology, for example, big data analytics, and you have innovation in terms of different types of revenue model, right? The most important thing, back to the zero ground, how you are going to solve the problem, real problem of your customer. So more importantly, we go back to another very famous professor from CU Hong Kong, which is Professor Andrew Chen Zhifei. So he talked about 左右圈, left and right circle. The same thing I apply to innovation. So if you have one side is the left side is the customer centricity, and the right side is innovation. What's the best scenario? What is the best scenario? The best scenario is when this two circle is 100% overlapped. That means your innovation is 100% customer-centric, right? Think about your company, your innovation, you're doing some innovation. Are they customer-centric? So learn from the I think the most genius scientists around the whole world from the humankind, which is the Albert Einstein. So he has one phrase, one quote is very important, right? If I have 60 minutes, I will spend 55 minutes to think about the problem and 5 minutes to think about the solution. So do you get it? That means understand the problem is the most important thing. And then you have some innovative idea to solve it, right? Not the other way around. So some of the people, they have a very creative, very innovative, but the company are not doing well because they do not understand the customer pain and the real problem. So same Steve Jobs, why he is so successful is not just technology, but because he is very customer-centric. So when the first computer coming out from Apple, I am the first generation of their users. So which is called Macintosh, right? This is the Macintosh. So when they come up with the Macintosh, everybody love it. And this is where the PC, the personal computer, really, really came out. Not Microsoft, not traditional personal computer. Because when personal computer just started, Microsoft and IBM all together, when the end user want to operate the computer, they have to type in command, just like words, print, list. This is not user-friendly. So Steve Jobs knows that this is a problem. This is not customer-centric. We have to make the computer much more user-friendly. So he visited a lab called PARC under Xerox and find out that they have a product or prototype. Is doing you'll see that. This is called graphical user interface. And also there's a little thing to move around to control the screen called mouse. This is invented by PARC, not Apple. But Steve Jobs is really, I found the solution. I can make the personal computer much more user-friendly. So he licensed this from PARC and put together the Macintosh. That's why the people love it and use it. right? This is another very important example, right? Customer centricity is the heart of the heart, right? So unfortunately, in the traditional company, you want to do innovation, a lot of people are responsible for execution and sales. Sometimes it's very difficult for innovation people to really innovate and help the company grow. So one of my major topics in my class is how we can put these two groups of people together so we can innovate something that the customer really want, right? This is very important. And we need to leverage another angle. We need to leverage on the ecosystem we talk about. So you cannot just do it yourself. You cannot close the door. You have to open the door to the innovation. So ecosystem is very important. All these startup, universities, tech companies, regulators, government, accelerator, incubator, you name it. So how are you going to engage with the ecosystem so you can innovate? For example, HSBC used to be a traditional company, but they integrate with the ecosystem very well, and now you can see that they have different types of innovation program, including they are the major sponsor of Alibaba Jumpstarter. Alibaba, the most famous entrepreneurship funds, and also accelerator in Hong Kong as well. So this is traditionally, HSBC will not do that. Now they are major sponsor of it, right? The other angle besides the ecosystems, because another angle we look at is the entrepreneurship. In a traditional company, you have been in the industry for a long time, you forgot your day one. If you look at Amazon, they have a famous culture called day one. Jeff Bezos, their former CEO, now he's working on the space science, right? Jeff Bezos have a very important mindset. They want everyone in Amazon really serious about this. You have to go back to your day one. When you are in day one meeting, you forgot what you do, what you have done in day one. In day one, you do not have that much resources. In day one, you have to be innovative. In day one, you understand every one of your customer, what they want, what they don't want. They want every one of the Amazon's people. They want everyone to go back to the day one. So can you do that? So if you want to do that, you have to nurture what we call the entrepreneurship culture in your company, right? So just learn from the startup to become an entrepreneur. All right, so that's about my sharing. So in my class, I usually, just like this, we have discussion cases, and then we also have team discussion. So if we have enough time, then we probably will have the team discussion. But today, this is a sample class. I'll leave it like that. But now I think, for example, in the team discussion, we'll talk about, Dr. Cham, you talk about the entrepreneurship. Okay, we will talk about the case study, right, like Haier. Then I will give them some questions, and they will try to brainstorm and share their findings and experience, and then I will comment. So those are the typical EMBA classes. We are not teach chapter by chapter, right? We bring out the important thoughts. We have the student to learn from the cases, and then they express their views, and then I comment, and then we can debate, and then we can have another kind of learning. So those are typically what you can get from the EMBA, right? So this is the sample question I will ask the student if they're discussing about a higher case, right? All right, so this is an overview you get a feel of an EMBA class, particularly in the innovation technologies, customer centricity, ecosystem, entrepreneurship, and many, many other stuff. But now, how we can apply in the context of Macau, right? Definitely, Vincent knows more than me because he is working in Macau and also got educated from our CU Hong Kong EMBA program. So without further ado, I will invite Vincent to come to share with you about the digital transformation cases in Macau. And then I will a little bit come back to have a chat with him.